DIY auto repair.
Alright guys, so we're back with my 2004 Toyota Camry. So just recently we got a oil pressure light that came on indicating we have low oil pressure. So we're going to be going ahead and doing a test. We're going to check the oil pressure with our Maddox engine and transmission oil pressure test kit. So the oil pump is an absolute nightmare to get to on this car. You literally have to take pretty much the whole engine apart. So we're gonna test this to rule out a bad oil pump before we start tearing into this thing and spending a lot of unnecessary money. The car is set for about 2 months. Just driving it in and out of the garage just to get access to my garage. Haven't really driven it. That was a mistake on my part. I should have known better, but I was busy and wasn't able to use this vehicle. So it had an oil change done on it about 600 miles ago. So I know it's got good clean oil in it, but we'll see. We obviously checked the oil level. The oil level is good, and like I said, I just changed the oil about 600 miles ago, so the oil is clean. It's good. It's Pennzoil. It's the proper oil. So let's check this oil pump to ensure that our oil pump is either not working or it's working. So let's get to it. Okay guys, so here is your oil pressure sender unit, and in order to get that off, it's going to be a 27 milliliter, or what we're going to do is we're just going to use a crescent wrench or an adjustable wrench just to get that off, because in order to get that off with the socket, you're going to have to take your air box off here. And just for purposes of testing, I'm not going to do that, so we're just going to use a crescent wrench. But in order to get a crescent wrench in here, you're actually going to have to take this little fastener off here. It's a 10 millimeter, and it's just going to take this out of the way so that you can actually get a wrench in here. And then we're going to come over here to our test kit, and we're just going to find the proper fitting that fits in to where our oil pressure sender unit is. We're going to connect the hose, and then we're going to connect one of these pressure gauges here. And we're probably going to use this one because according to service information, it's going to be under 100 psi, so this would work perfectly fine for us. So let's hook this up. Well, let's take this off and then hook this up and test the system. So here's our oil pressure sensor. So we're just going to find the right adapter that's going to fit in place of our oil pressure sensor. Then we're going to take our hose. There we are. And then we're going to take our gauge. There we go. You want to make sure the hose is not going to touch anything that's moving or that's super hot. So now we'll show you guys can see the gauge. There. Hopefully you guys can see that gauge. So at idle, we're supposed to get about 4.5 psi. I'll make sure to put the exact number up top. And then at 3,000 RPMs, we're supposed to get anywhere from, I believe, 50 to about 80 psi. So now we're going to go ahead and turn on our vehicle. So as you guys can see, it's about 50 psi right now. And I'll go ahead and give you the exact specs. So at idle, according to service information, it wants you to be at 4.3 psi or more. And at 3,000 RPM, it wants you to be at 36 to 78 psi or more. So we're really high at idle right now. So I probably failed to mention, according to service information, it also wants you to warm up the engine prior to testing it. We've already tested it once. I want to go ahead and just show you guys and do a second test as well to confirm. So the engine's already pretty much warmed up. So what is this number telling us? Well, it's telling us we have oil pressure for sure. All right, guys, I don't know if you were able to hear the car revving up. So we used my my tool to press on the brake. To press on the gas while we came out here and looked at the gauge. As you could see, it was within spec. I think the first step that we're gonna do is we're gonna try an oil change, because there was no problem with the car prior to now, and the car's been setting for about 2 months, and the only time I turn it on and off is just to kind of move it so I could get in my garage and move it back. So we're gonna go ahead and change the oil and the filter and see if the problem persists. So we're gonna go ahead and put all this back together. It's not much to put back together, but what you want to do is put some thread locker on your threads here before you put your sending unit back in. You want to torque it to 11 foot-pounds. So I'm not going to show you all that because I want to make this as short as possible, but you guys know how to use the torque wrench, and we're just going to put a 27mm socket on here, torque it to 11 foot-pounds, and then try that oil change. If it works or if it doesn't work, I will definitely have a follow-up video to this so you guys will know what happened. Alright guys, so after testing our system, we see that we have oil pressure. So that's telling me that at least for now the oil pump is in working condition. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're just gonna go ahead and try to give it another oil change. I know that the last time I did an oil change was only about 600 miles ago, but we're gonna go ahead and do another oil change just to see what it does. And then after that, I'm gonna go after the oil pressure sending unit. We're gonna replace that. It's only about 20 bucks, and the fact that when I turn my car on, the light is not immediately on. It's not on until like after I start driving it around a little bit, and then when I turn the car off, it will go off. So I'm thinking there might be I'm thinking we might have a faulty sensor, or it might actually start, it's probably starting to go out. I don't know a lot of the history on this car, but I'm assuming that that is the old one, or that is the original one that came with the vehicle. So that's what we're gonna do, and I will give you guys an update probably on this video as to not make this too long. So let's try that and see what happens. Alright guys, and we're back. So what we did, we actually fixed the problem. So we have no more oil pressure light coming on, and the car is running perfectly fine. I don't see or hear nothing wrong. We're not getting any valve train noise or any kind of rod knock. So what we did was we went ahead and drained the oil and refilled it. When I drained the oil, I didn't see anything crazy in there. There was no like chunks, there was no metal shavings, there was no nothing. So that's a good sign. So we drove it around, and I almost thought the light was gonna stay off, but unfortunately it came right back on. So the next step, we went ahead and bought the $20 part, and I put the new $20 part on there, and the light has not come back on yet, and the car is driving perfectly fine. So it's been a few days driving it, driven at about 150 miles already, and the light is still off. So I call that a fix, guys. So we just went ahead and replaced the oil pressure sending unit right here and solved our problem. So better than taking the whole engine apart, guys, trust me, to get to that oil pump. It's a nightmare, and it's gonna cost. So there you have it, guys. Remember, test, don't guess, so you don't spend unnecessary money and cause yourself a headache. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys did, make sure to hit that like button. If you guys would like to be notified when I put out another video, make sure to ring that bell notification. And as always, guys, subscribe to my channel for more informational videos and DIY projects. And until next time, guys, have a good one.